And what's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. Guys, it's Monday, the start of a new week. Hope everybody's good out there. Just make sure I actually just put this on silent. I did indeed, decent. So guys, welcome along to another episode of 420 News. I see a few comments coming in there already. Miss Stowes, DB Woodcraft, Shining in the Bucket. John Finnegan, what's going on, John? I hope you had a good birthday, bud. And Karan C getting the comment in there as well. And Miss Stowes and Green Tea, Hype TCK. What's going on, guys? Hope you're all really good out there. As Hype TCK, reach for the sky, nice and high. What's going on, Sean? I see Sean getting in the old, what's he saying? Hello, Martin. Happy Monday. Yes, it is a mighty happy Monday, guys. Wow. So, guys, welcome along to the show. And I just want to start off by asking people a quick question, I suppose, really. I've been itching at throwing my name into the hat in the Dublin South Bay election. And I have until Wednesday to make up my mind, really. I'm like 90% there, like 95% there in order just to make the appointment and go ahead and put in the nomination. There's one candidate above there, possibly two. I'm getting in touch there later on with Peter Dooley, I believe is his name. He's another independent candidate above there in the Dublin South Bay by-election. So I might have a chat with Peter Dooley, see what the crack is with Peter, see where his views lie and things like that. And if he has views that I'm happy to say would be in line with mine, then I would probably leave it off. But I just wonder what your you guys' opinion out there would be. Like, should I just run anyway? A single issue candidate, drug policy reform, decriminalise and illegalise all drugs in Ireland. I don't know, I'm contemplating it, I'm thinking about it, but we'll see. We'll have a chat with Peter as well, and I think depending on how that chat goes, I think that will make up my mind then from that point. And I'll be able to get that chat out to yourselves there again. He's after agreeing to do a small interview there with me for the podcast. So that will be with Peter Dooley in the Dublin South Bay by-election. And Skitana is saying there, you don't have to live in the district to run for this. No, you don't. Although it would be very convenient and beneficial to live in the area. You don't have to live in the area strictly. And yeah, I see Shining in the Bucket as well. Like we're thinking along the same lines. You know, if I was to run, any exposure is good exposure. You know, to bring this issue out to the forefront and have it repeated over and over again within the media. I think that would be a very beneficial part of running a campaign above there. So I'm very much contemplating it. I see a lot of people saying, yeah, go for it, do it. Yeah, guys, you might have twisted my arm, all right. I'm very much contemplating it. It'll be a short campaign. The election is going to be held on July 8th. So less than 3 weeks. I think it's like 2 weeks and 4 days now, or maybe 2 weeks and 3 days. So I'll consider I'll be back to you anyway, guys, and I'll make an announcement whether or not I'm going to go ahead and get that appointment booked with the Dublin City Sheriff in order to put my candidacy forward. So feck it, like, you know, as Shining in the Bucket says, like, you know, nothing to lose really in this. Like, any exposure is good exposure, really. I'm articulate enough, I'm confident enough as well that I would be able to hammer the points home. Getting elected, it's secondary, really, to it. It's more about the message, getting it out there, getting it repeated, and maybe having a residual effect there as well on the other candidates, that they might bring some of what I said forward with them after the election is over. So, yeah. And I see Mustawa is adding in there. Peter Dooley seems like a decent option, though, if you're not feeling it. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to close this window. There we go. So, yeah, I'll have a chat with Peter Dooley. We'll see what's happening there, and maybe he might fly the flag loud and proud for us and save me the trip up to Dublin. Going to be heading up there anyway on July 10th, like, but I wasn't intending to go up there any sooner than that. But if I have to, I will. So we'll drive on from there, guys, and thanks very much, everybody, for your input, and happy birthday there to DB's daughter as well. Says, his daughter's birthday is on the 8th. So sorry, I thought you were saying it is your daughter's birthday and she's 8. But yeah, if I can, I'll drive on with the news there for you guys. Must always saying if you're game, I think you could do well. Nothing against raising awareness. Yeah, exactly. I think that as well. I think I would do okay. I don't think I would get elected, but again, that's not my objective at all. It's just about raising awareness. That's the primary objective, really, isn't it? So we'll see. We'll see. R&B says I was in Dublin over the weekend, saw people smoking joints everywhere, brought a smile to my face. Yes, that happens to me too when I'm going through the city here in Cork, and if I get an old smell of cannabis and I see somebody looking a bit sketchy on the side, it'll always bring an old smile to my face. uh, right, so we'll get into the news there, guys, and we'll get started. And I see Jamie Powers after getting an old super chat sent in there as well. Legend, Jamie, for that. Thanks very much. And he's saying, keep it up, Martin. I will indeed. I'm not going to stop flying this flag until the day in which I no longer have to fly it. So yeah, you can be assured of that. I'll certainly be keeping this up. I'm going to be relentless. And I'm not going to make it easy for these guys to get me to go away. So yeah, we will keep this up. So we drive on, guys, and we'll start off. The first headline today is coming out of Belfast. Boom. Sorry, just looking for me Ishka here. So this is the headline that came up on my screen there on my Google Alerts this morning, last night. Boy, age 2, in a critical condition after eating cannabis. So I was just thinking, geez, a boy in critical condition, like, that's kind of it grabbed my attention. It was a very attention-grabbing headline, so I clicked into it, as you do. And you find out, like, actually, the young fella was brought in. He was put on a ventilator, but he was grand, actually. He's doing very well now. Now, like, it's a serious situation here that you have a boy age 2 after eating cannabis. Like, whatever was going on there in the situation, I don't know. You have a 2-year-old in an environment where cannabis is being irresponsibly left lying around. Or is there a more sinister thing that happened here in this, that the people might have, I don't know, stupidly giving it to the child purposely? Oh, here, fucking small Johnny, try this out there, because there was 5 people arrested in this case. So this is something that unfolded about 2 weeks ago. It happened when the 2-year-old was brought to the Royal Belfast Hospital for Sick Children. So just about 2 weeks ago this happened. And when that happened, then there was a follow-up search at the house where the parents' house, and they found some drug paraphernalia, some other medication, and but they didn't find any cannabis. It didn't say that they found any cannabis, which is what I found interesting also here. So were these people who were involved in, like, they found medicine there, that they said medication, so they found tablets like benzos or something like that, some form of tablets that they found there on the property along with drug paraphernalia. So my wondering here is this a drug production operation where these people were actually making edibles to look like cannabis edibles, but they weren't cannabis edibles, that they were actually laced with something else, maybe this other medication that was found on site? I don't know the truth, like what was going on there. I'm only just kind of theorizing as to possible scenarios that could have happened here, because they didn't find any cannabis. You would imagine if people have cannabis edibles in a property, that they're going to have some cannabis lying around. But no, they didn't find any cannabis at all. At least they didn't state it if they did. There was 2 people arrested, and then a follow-up search carried out, and another 3 people are arrested. So in total, there was 3 women arrested, aged 51, 27 and 20, and there was 2 men arrested then, aged 28 and 25. I would imagine included in there is the parents. It doesn't state it also here if the parents were actually arrested or what the situation was. But a PSNI spokesperson said that in response to the report of an alleged crime cruelty, a child cruelty, police arrested a 25-year-old male and a 20-year-old female on the 13th of June. During a follow-up search of a residential property, a number of items were recovered for examination, including a quantity of tablets, medication, and drug paraphernalia. So there you go. Quantity of tablets, medication, and drug paraphernalia. That's all that they found inside in the property. There was no cannabis actually found, which is very, very interesting for me. It makes me wonder, what was it that the 2-year-old actually really ingested here in this situation? But again, the damage is done now, because out there in the minds of the public, the uneducated, they're going to read this and they're going to see a 2-year-old is in a critical condition over cannabis. That's not very true at all. Like that might not be the whole story at all. We don't know it. Was there other drugs actually consumed by the young person? Was it actually THC that was in this young person's system? Again, this hasn't been confirmed at all out there, but yet the media will go away and do this damage out there. How many young kids I've seen stories with young kids, again, young as two, being administered cannabis as a medicine, and it's not putting them in critical condition. In fact, it's actually giving them a new lease on life. So again, this is detrimental to the movement. It's detrimental to the image of cannabis, because the potential here is it wasn't even cannabis. But the media doesn't care. They don't matter. They're not going to be held to account for this. Because it's okay to discriminate against the cannabis community and cannabis at large. And we go on from there, but we stay in the north for the next headline, and very much related to this, that the PSNI made a seizure recently of €40,000 or £40,000 worth of suspected drugs. And they go on to say here that the seizure included chocolates and sweets believed to contain cannabis. And they say, help us deal by reporting to police or Crime Stoppers. I don't think any of you are going to be snitches out there, guys. I'm sure we've got some good people listening to this show. But this is above in the north, and it's a highlight of the waste of time that goes on, and the fruitless efforts of our cop. They can take all this cannabis off the street, but there's still so much more out there, and it's still under the control of criminals who are free to sell it to our kids, who are free to use kids to actually sell it in the school grounds where you think your kids are going to be are safe. You send your young Mary off to school there, and she's getting sold bloody chocolate brownies on the schoolyard, what can you do as a parent? You can't do very much as a parent against that. And the biggest danger there posed to your young Mary in the schoolyard from the chocolate edible is that possibly maybe it came from the drug factory that's using Xanax or fucking some other kind of pills instead of actually using cannabis inside the brownies just to give them some sort of a buzz. But that could be detrimental. That can kill them. So again, regulation is what's needed here. The ending of prohibition, it's what's needed here if we want to help our young people, if we want to make our streets safer, and again, if we want to improve our society. There's an incredible potential here to create jobs, to save lives, and to protect consumers. And we're really missing this opportunity. We look at places like America where where this industry has been legalized and regulated. We don't see these kind of headlines where young kids are being hospitalized because of it. It's not as much of a headline because they're less dogmatic about it over there. There's less stigma there, so they're less likely to try to make a big deal about it. It's going to be the same as if your kids just got their hands on any other kind of type of poison that's potentially lying around the house, underneath your kitchen sink there. Like if a 2-year-old gets in underneath there, there's untold harm that's going to happen. But the media won't make big hullabaloo about it, really, because this sort of stuff happens all the time, really. But for cannabis, it's like, oh Jesus, cannabis, so we have to make a big hullabaloo over here about it. Also then, the next headline in the news, and keeping in line with America, I suppose, to this one, it says human trafficking plays a key part in cannabis production, says the human rights expert. And again, this is off the back of Fiona Dodson, who I talked about last week, who's a doctor, who's a lecturer below on UCC, and also a part of the Criminal Justice and Human Rights Law Reform Committee below on UCC as well. So She basically is after coming out again, doubling down on her position, I suppose, on the connection of human trafficking to cannabis production in Ireland. But again, she's failed in pointing out that it is because of prohibition. She's failed to point at other places in the world where cannabis is legal and there is no connection between its production and human trafficking. She's failed to do this, so she claims to be a human rights expert, but that they failed to do something, and it's glaringly obvious. It's so obvious. You have to be willfully ignorant in order to ignore this fact. Or maybe she's aware of the fact if she expresses these views that she might not get so much attention actually, because she's calling out the failing of her bloody government, which is leading to people being exploited in our country. Now, it's not as massive as it is in the UK, but I believe as the UK cracks down more and more on the production of cannabis over there, there's going to be kind of a spillover from some of the crime gangs from the UK into the north of Ireland, and from the north then into the Republic. And I believe a lot of the human trafficking that's been discovered in Ireland is probably most likely related to UK crime gangs operating in Ireland, maybe growing their cannabis down here and selling it on our streets. So, and this was just a photo taken that's pictured here, and it's kind of picturing what looks to be a Vietnamese kind of guy sitting in a messy looking apartment with a load of soil strewn around him. Tried to portray what it might be like for a victim of human trafficking inside in these properties. And I suppose it's important to say, well, these people might be a victim of human trafficking. There's probably a large portion of them who are not really victims, but they could claim that afterwards because it's just so easy for them. And for that, then it makes it easier for the crime gangs to actually recruit them. You're over in Vietnam, you're some sort of a mafia crime gang, and you go into a poor village and there's a local 21-year-old, a fit, fine, healthy young fella, or even a local 16-year-old, willing and able, and you say to him, hey, go on over to Ireland, look, grow some cannabis over there, we'll give your family an entire year's worth of money every month. And all you have to do is just go over there, grow cannabis, we'll feed you, we'll look after you. And if you get caught, you can just say that you're a victim of human trafficking, and you'll be looked after there. The prisons are great. They're 3 meals a day, gym friendly, and all of that kind of stuff, So this is a major opportunity for our government to improve Ireland and in how it treats victims of human trafficking. The production of cannabis is a viable pathway for these people to work here because of its unregulated nature. You regulate and control the production of cannabis, and you make it virtually impossible then for human trafficking to take place. So Fiona Dodson, come on, if you're an expert, surely you can't disagree with those points. I've reached out to her. I've sent a message there on Twitter, so hopefully she might get back to me. Hopefully she might take up me up in the offer of the invite to come in and have a discussion here about the human trafficking that goes on in the cannabis production scene, I suppose, across the UK and Ireland. So we'll leave that for now, and we'll hopefully come back to it at a later date with Fiona Dodson herself. So we drive on from there, guys, and the next headline is that the Gardai have seized €31,000 and €500 worth of cocaine and €800 worth of cannabis above in County Meath after a driver was spotted driving erratically. So this was above in County Meath, where on which road was it? They were saying, so at 9 p.m. last night, Gardai from Ashbourne Garda Station observed a vehicle driving erratically. The vehicle took off driving dangerously around Kilbridge Road, and the Gardai managed to stop the vehicle safely after a small pursuit. This led to the subsequent searches and a seizure of €31,500 of suspected cocaine and €800 worth of cannabis. The driver is also going to be prosecuted for dangerous driving. So I suppose let that be a lesson to you guys. If you're driving around with a load of cocaine and a few edibles, or what is that? Do they look like edibles? Or no, that's just like some Cali packs actually, is it? Some Cali packs. So if you're driving around with about 30 grand's worth of coke and Cali packs, like try to stay in between the lines. And I don't know, is there a bit of a pun in that, like when you've cocaine in the car? But sure, if there is, hope you got a giggle out of it. But you know, it's a sad state of affairs there again. You know, coke and cannabis being found side by side. This needn't be the case again. It shouldn't be the case. You got people out there buying cannabis, young kids going out buying cannabis, and they're being exposed to people who are also going to potentially sell them cocaine. This shouldn't be the case. If a young person wants to go get cannabis, well, like I did when I was a young flag, to go get alcohol, they should be able to go down and queue up outside of a cannabis store and wait for some 18-year-old or whatever age a person needs to be to come by and go in and buy it from. And at least then they're going to get a quality assured product, and they don't run the risk of the person saying, hey, do you want some cocaine with your cannabis? You know? Come on, like, it just makes more sense to control and regulate this stuff rather than leaving it out there in the control of these fellas. Yeah, Pod's saying a few fake Cali packs, I'd say. I'd 100% agree with you there. Definitely a few fake Cali packs. Like, you can see the weed actually packed up in the bag there on the side. So I'd imagine, like, I don't think the guards would have took it out and put it into the evidence pack like that. I would imagine they would have let it in the Cali packs and put it all into the evidence bag as it is. But yeah, that's probably for repackaging. €800 worth of cannabis, the cops are saying here, like, but once your man sticks it into the Cali packs here, like, it's worth about 10 grand, I'd say. And what's going on, Greenbeard? I hope you're having a safe journey home. It was nice to have a chat with you there earlier. Yeah, we look forward to catching up on July 10th above it, the major smoke up above it in Dublin, guys. I look forward to it. Can't wait to get out and meet all of the cannabis community above there. Hope it's going to be a really big one and one to remember. So July 10th, guys, a major smoke up above there in the Phoenix Park in Dublin, kicking it off at 2 p.m. on the 10th of July. So get it into your calendars. Put the reminders in there, guys. Don't forget this one. We need to make a massive impression here. And I hope to God that the major smoke up guys have more dates planned on their calendar. I'm working on some dates for down here in Cork, and I'm going to coordinate with the guys above there to make sure that we don't clash in any of our plans. But yeah, I can't wait to meet up with more of you out there, guys. So yeah, and who else out there? Hebsy girl. What's going on, Hebsy? Hi, Martin, watching you all the way from Australia. G'day. Hope you're doing good over there in the land down under. I've got a sister down there at the moment, and got a niece and nephew then as well, I suppose, as my sister's down there quite a while now, and she's got an old family. But I hope you're all good down there. And thanks very much for tuning in and letting me know. It's always great to hear, you know, that the show is reaching completely the other side of the world, like, and people are interested in this topic over there. I do tend to cover some of the Australian news from time to time, and I do have it lined up actually to be chatting with some activists from Australia, part of the cannabis the cannabis legalization party over there. So I will have that to bring to you as well very soon, guys. I look forward to that. And High on Homegrown is out there as well. What's going on? Hope you're good, guys. And I hear that you're going to be chatting with Gino Kenny as well very soon, guys. And you have a live event as well going on this evening for your patrons. Excellent stuff. That's with Ed Rosenthal. So hopefully there's loads of people out there signed up to your Patreon, and they're going to be tuned into that live this evening over on High on Homegrown. Eh? But yeah, we drive on. Bhagwan San, 10th of July is my first protest. Yes, nice one. I look forward to popping that cherry with you, Bhagwan. Good stuff. I hope there's going to be many others out there as well popping their first protest cherry on the 10th of July above there at the Major Smoke Up event. Check out the Major Smoke Up over on Instagram and Facebook and all those good places, as well as if you haven't done so already, guys. Other comments, just looking at some of the other comments coming in there, guys. Yeah, yes, mate, Ed Rosenthal tonight. So yeah, that's for the patrons as well, guys. So there's going to be a link going out there, and that's the job. I look forward to that Gino chat as well. And yeah, I might take you up in that offer as well, on Gino, although I can definitely chase him up myself. I just didn't want to be pestering him really. I kind of asked him once to come on, and I kind of didn't want to be bothering him and asking him again. But yeah, I should definitely chase him up to get him on, alright, as soon as he's doing some interviews. But we'll give him some time. I'm sure you guys are going to give him a good old interview, so we'll give him a break. Then after that, we'll leave a bit of time so we can build up some more questions then for him. So in other news out there, guys, the Gardai, who have also seized €180,000 worth of cannabis and €153,000 in cash. So quite a bit of cash there, and that's just going straight into the old exchequer, and maybe a few notes there into the local cops' pockets as well. I know if I was a cop and there was a big stack of cash on the table like that, like I'm sure, like, I know a little bundle there into the pocket, like, what's 10 grand? Like, oh, sure, the boys won't miss 10 grand. Sure, it's all going into evidence anyway, or whatever, like, The temptation is real. Like, cops are only paid about, like, what, 30, 40, 50 grand for a year's work? 10 grand, 150 grand on the table, like, and, temptation to take, a quick bundle there. Like, that's like 3 months' salary there if you get 10 grand into your pocket. Why not, like? And then I suppose you could always say that the temptation is also real, that if you were a criminal out there and you've owned this money, that you just take 10 grand of your own money and pay a cop, and that cop is going to look the other way. That cop is going to tell you where the checkpoints are in your area and when the checkpoints are there. He's going to tell you, if anybody's onto you, if there's raids coming your way, it's going to be worth that 10 grand every, whatever it might be, every month, every 3 months. I wonder what the price is to actually buy a cop in Ireland. I wouldn't imagine it would be more than 10 grand a month anyway. But if there's anybody out there with knowledge of that, let me know. I would reckon cops are cheap. That's just my opinion, like. And it's probably very biased as well, like, I'll have to acknowledge that. But this was a seizure that happened at around 10 p.m. above in Dublin on the Oscar Traynor Road in Coolock. And this was as part of an ongoing investigation into organised crime. There was some €15,000 seized over the course of the search of the van, and a man aged 46 was arrested on suspicion of involvement in money laundering offences and brought to the Coolock Garda station where he was detained. During a follow-up search of a premises in North Dublin, cannabis herb with an estimated street value of 180,000 was located and seized, along with a further quantity of cash. The total cash seized in the course of the operation was 153,000. At least that's what's made it to the evidence room. And the drugs seized will be forwarded to the old Forensic Science Ireland, who are up to their eyes in drugs at the moment. So much drugs up there they can barely keep up with the testing. But, we just keep on piling them on up there for them. The man was arrested and has since been charged and is expected to be brought before a sitting of the Dublin District Court, and investigations are ongoing. So again, a shameful waste of cannabis here. 180 grams worth of cannabis, so that's about 9 kilos of cannabis. Again, you look at all that cash that was there. How much cash was this person actually after making over the course of their operation? How long were they operating before they actually got caught? Think about the potential here for our community should this person being able to set up a legitimate business and grow and produce cannabis, process it locally, and sell it and distribute it locally then as well too. Think of the amount of jobs that people could have, a person could create and doing that. You have the production, you have the harvesting, you have the processing, you have the delivery, you have the retail. You've so many avenues there for jobs to be created, and each one of those avenues, each employee brings with it the potential for income tax then as well from the employees. How many people are out there currently, right now, unemployed, taking the dole, and are involved in cannabis selling? I know many people out there who sell cannabis and they claim the dole, and they're quite happy to do that because, they make an extra maybe €200 or €300 a week off the selling cannabis. They make another €200 or €300 worth of cannabis as well that they consume themselves, so they don't have to spend on that. So there's another added value of doing it. Plus an extra €200 from the state or wherever it might be. And yeah, why are we doing this? Where's the value for the taxpayers in that? You know, and sorry guys, I just got distracted there by some of the comments coming in. I see Dawson's Creek says, Dawson's Creek, I got 6 years off the road and a €16,000 fine and a 3-month jail sentence on the first offence before appeal. Going back just a little bit further to some of your earlier comments there as well, as I missed the first one. You said, my first offence when I was 18 or so was drug driving. They pulled me over, searched the car, found nothing, but took me to the station and I had to wait 3 hours for the doctor for blood samples. If it took more than 3 hours, actually, they have to let you go. And the blood sample is no longer valid, I don't think. But after 3 hours, they have to let you go. They're not supposed to make you wait any longer than 3 hours for the guards or for the doctor. So there's a bit of information for anybody out there. So from the moment the guards arrest you until the doctor comes, they have a maximum of 3 hours where they can hold you. After that, they have to let you go. They can't hold you any longer. So just keep that in mind if you ever get detained by the Gardai any longer. But you go on to say then that you got 6 years off the road, a €16,000 fine and a 3-month jail sentence on the first offence before appeal. That's a serious of punishment, isn't it? 6 years off the road, like 6, like what in the name of God are they at? Like that's ridiculous. After appeal, the time was suspended, $4,000 fine and 4 years off the road. It still affects me today with jobs, travel and education. It happened in 2006. That's sickening, man. That is absolutely sickening. Thanks very much for sharing that with me. I'm sorry to hear you have to go through such a horrible situation. Your first offence and to get such a serious fine. Like, what happened? How did you even come up with that kind of money? Were you working a serious job or something like that? That's a crazy amount of money that they hit you with. 16,000 as far as I can remember. I was in Cork and had a judge called Patwell with a nickname of Padlock, as his kid was killed by a drunk driver. That's horrible, man. I had a terrible solicitor and didn't know what I was doing. I was in court alone and you can't bail yourself out. So I had to contact my granddad to hand him the money to bail me out. Man, that's horrible. And you didn't know shit about the laws at the time either. Yeah, well, why should you? Like, now, like, what person out there really knows about the laws unless they're studying to become a solicitor? It's very complex stuff, in fairness. Like, until it affects you, you don't really go about educating yourself about this stuff. So it's understandable that people don't understand about the law until they find themselves on the wrong side of it, unfortunately. But again, thanks, Dawson, for sharing that with me. Again, sorry to hear you had to go through that shit. Hopefully that they've left you alone since and you haven't found yourself in trouble anymore. But it's shit that people go through this, like, and shit that people lose their license and lose jobs as a result of this, lose their ability to travel. I've shared countless times here my own experience, and my ability to travel being infringed upon, not being able to go to America, not being able to take part in an international convention of students during the Students for Sensible Drug Policy our conference. I wasn't able to take part in the United Nations General Assembly on narcotics in New York. Well, quite an honour to be able to go and take part in that, represent my country as part of a national, or as part of an international group of students. A bunch of students often get discredited in the media as being lazy and as being a bit of a burden on society and as being drunkards and a lot of negative stuff. Especially here in Cork anyway, we've the UCC, and a lot of the times when you hear about them in the media, it's about like drunken parties and stuff like that. But here we were, a bunch of students organising ourselves right across the world, a grassroots network of students, and we managed to kind of make a massive organisation and to be organising and operating in the way we were. Like, really deserved a lot more credit and attention than what it got, to be fair. And I was robbed opportunities then really to take part with them on the international stage. Shameful, but it is what it is, I guess. I can't change it now. We drive on, and in the final piece of news that I have for you today, guys, it's coming out of Cork City, where in Cork City there was a woman brought before the courts, but because she brought cannabis oil into Cork prison for a relative who was seriously ill. Now, this is a case that I remember at the time because the person who was in prison was in there for drug dealing, I believe, maybe some money laundering also and stuff like that. This was the Heafy family here in Cork, quite a well-known family really if you're from the north side of Cork. It would be a name that was well known actually when I was growing up, when I was a young fella, when I was like 16, 17, I was getting my ecstasy pills, my yolks, from the Heafys. So yeah, there was literally a house. You would pull up to it outside it with a taxi. You would walk up, knock at the front door, knock at the front window. They would open the front sitting room window, and you would make the exchange at the sitting room window. This was in a housing estate, like broad daylight, just a drive-through almost, if you will, like, and they operated almost with impunity across Cork. There was a lot of talk about the family, really, like a lot of stories being told about them, because of the fact that they got away with it for so long, that maybe that they were actually working with the cops, that was something that was suggested about the family too. But I suppose enough about that anyway. That's just a bit of background on the family. Sorry, I got a really itchy bloody nose there. But this is the case of Jennifer Heafy anyway, who was, after being given a 5-month jail sentence after being caught bringing the cannabis oil into the prison for her family member who was there for other crimes related to drugs and money laundering, as I said, but they actually had terminal cancer also. This person actually got released from prison early. I don't know how they passed actually since, but they got released from prison early because of the fact they had cancer, and they were, they were very unlikely to reoffend in their given condition, and it was probably more a burden actually on the prison system, probably keeping them there any longer because of the deterioration of the person's health. But here we have it, like, where a person was snapped a sneaking cannabis oil to him in the prison. Why is it that the person actually couldn't be prescribed it in the prison, maybe? If I wonder if there's even an avenue there for the person, if you're a person out here getting cannabis legally and you have a prescription for it, do they have to honour that in prison? I don't know. But anyway, Jennifer Heafy successfully argued to Judge Sean O'Donovan that the 5-month jail sentence should be suspended, because it was a bit harsh. So she appealed it when the decision was made against her by, who was the decision made originally by? What judge does it say? It doesn't indicate here actually which judge made the decision initially, but Judge Sean O'Donovan has agreed to suspend the 5 months of the jail sentence at the Cork Circuit Appeals Court. So again, it's very unfortunate that a person in this situation, has to sneak cannabis oil into a person in prison. This person should have been afforded it in prison because, yes, cannabis oil does improve the quality of life from people in these end-of-life stages of cancer. It's been shown time and time again, maybe not through the gold standard double-blind placebo trials, but through through a lot of anecdotal evidence. And anecdotal evidence, as they might call it in scientific literature, is basically stories shared from like your brothers and sisters' experiences, your mum and dad's experiences, your cousins, your neighbours. It's the people in real world, real life, real lived experiences that are helping to inform the public, because sadly the researchers' hands are tied. The researchers haven't been able to do a thorough investigation here into the benefits of cannabis, and sadly we're miles behind where we should be because of prohibition. So the sooner we get rid of prohibition in Ireland, the better, So that is it, guys, for today's 420 news. I didn't have a whole lot of news to get into because as I say, I did get to bump into Greenbeard there earlier, so I did get to have a bit of an old chat, and I was more than happy to spend more time than I had to spare with him. Sacrificed a little bit of preparation time there for the show, so I wasn't able to thoroughly investigate some of the other headlines I had lined up for you guys, but what harm anyway. We've gotten a good 40 minutes of of news out there for you. And now we're just going to briefly just spend a little bit of time there going through some of your comments throughout this show. And much appreciated also, guys. I see a lot of comments coming in there, guys. You're an incredible audience. So much interactivity there with the show as it goes on. I'm blown away by it. Like, I've over 50 people watching live now. I'm sure there's probably RT shows out there that don't even have that large an audience. Do you know that their numbers get propped up because they just have it on in all the waiting rooms in the hospitals? But even then, like, how many people are even looking at the screen? Probably looking at it because you're after reading all of the other notices on the wall around you. So thanks, guys. Honestly, you're an amazing audience as always. Martin Hogan saying, check out Integrity Ireland to see how corrupt the justice system is. Yeah, it's actually a page I follow, and yeah, there is incredible injustice and corruption going on out there. And yeah, that is a good page to be following. So nice one for that, Martin. Bhagwan Son saying, government is a joke. The utter excuse of I'm just doing my job from the Garda. Like, man, I hate it when I hear that. When I hear them saying, I'm just doing my job. Well, so were the fucking Nazis, like, you know what I mean? Just because it's your job, it doesn't mean it's bloody right. Like, come on. Like, where is the ethics in it? Where is your morality? Surely just because something is your job, it doesn't excuse you to remove the part of your brain that engages with it. Is this moral or not? Like, you know, like that should be always active. You should never deactivate that part of your brain in order to just do your job. No, like, sorry, money is fictitious. It is not necessary. Like, real life, we are real people. Emotions are real. Money is not real. When you go and affect me and upset my life for money because it's your job, you're paid to do something, that doesn't excuse your morals. Like, it still makes it immoral and it still makes it wrong. Just because it's lawful and what I'm doing is unlawful, it still doesn't mean it's immoral and what you're doing is moral as a guard. So think about it. Like, if you're out there and if you're a guard, you've incredible power. You've a lot of power to show discretion to people at the side of the road. But sadly, there's a lot of guards out there, man, and they're hell-bent on catching people with cannabis because it's just so goddamn easy to do it, isn't it? We're such a bloody low-hanging fruit. We're so easy. And when we get caught, we're so apologetic, and, you know, we make it so easy for them. Yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, you know. Yeah, you caught me, I was wrong. What more can I say? Please, guard, go easy on me. The state of the Irish system, lads, a huge fine and a jail sentence. Yeah. Bhagwan's son saying they can choose to also not enforce these stupid laws. Exactly, they do. They have the power of discretion all the time. They don't need it to be bestowed upon them because they already have it. So this thing, I'm just doing my job. Sorry, it doesn't fly with me at all. Podge 85, yep, unfortunately, but it's very good, though, that, for people to check out the laws. It is, guys, the Misuse of Drugs Act. If you haven't already read them, it's certainly an interesting one to have a read-through and to inform yourself as to the wording of it and to the creation of it and all of that is within it. It is interesting, all right. Green Tea says, your friendly reminder that it is technically illegal to drink outdoors right now, but the Gardaí are choosing not to enforce it. That is very true, actually. That is very true. That was brought up recently, that there are premises that currently don't hold a license in order to have outdoor seating and dining currently are doing so illegally. And when they sell alcohol out there, that is also illegal to do. And they're looking past it. They're turning a blind eye because there's a massive backlog in the licensing process for that. Irish Hemp Harvest, what's going on? I know a lad who had a court date and his solicitor was able to shuffle around the date to get him the right judge. Worked out well for him. You see, that this is where a solicitor comes to benefit. The solicitors know the judges, and if you get a good one who's willing to do such a thing, then you're on the right track to be able to get off with it. But again, for me, I'm just kind of, I don't really want to encourage, like, if you can go for that, guys, go for it, you know, by all means. I'm not going to judge you for it. But for me, I would definitely want to encourage people to challenge the charges, to not make it easy, to don't get a solicitor who's going to go in and say, look, you're guilty, to try to get one to go in and argue the grounds of human rights, to go in and argue the grounds of your medicinal use, should it be medicinal use that you're using it for. This stuff of going in and saying that you're guilty, that needs to change. Paying the fines, that needs to change. Like, don't pay the fines. If you get fined for cannabis possession, like, just don't pay it, refuse to pay it. And just don't participate in your own oppression. That's just my opinion anyway. That's what I would love to see more people to kind of do. A massive campaign of civil disobedience, of just disengaging with the criminal justice system that discriminates us so much. So that's just my views on what people should do. Podge 85, 42 watching and only 21 likes. Come on, guys, hit that like button. You tell them, Podge. Guys, I can forgive you for forgetting to do it, but make sure you hit that like button, guys, and share the old stream there as well over on whatever social media channels you might be watching from. And to everybody who's already liked and shared the stream, and to Irish as well for hosting the stream there over on Twitch as well. Thanks very much, everyone. You're all a bunch of legends. Love you all. Pods4420 says, drinking in public was always illegal in Ireland. Drinking outside a pub, though, should not be illegal. Yeah, there's some places actually that it's more illegal than others. In Cork, we have a bylaw that doesn't allow any drinking in public at all. No open tins in a public place in the city. So that's in Cork. They've turned a blind eye to that throughout the whole pandemic. You know, you've seen the lock, you've seen down on the quays. People just drinking openly, no problem at all. The cops not doing anything really, like, outside of moving people on when they get into too big of groups. But yeah, they turn a blind eye all the time to people breaking the law. And you're a legend as well, Mustafa, is for that super chat there. I just seen it now. Just telling people to hit that like button, people. So nice one again. Thanks very much for supporting the show, to yourself and Jamie there, who've gotten the super chats in. Legends, guys. And Podge85 says, good to hear, guys, and hope you are enjoying the sun. Yeah, guys, it is a beautiful day outside, actually. I had a lovely chat, as I was saying earlier, with Greenbeard above there with the dogs, and we enjoyed some beautiful sunshine as we did. And we might have enjoyed a little bit of herb as well, actually. But enough about that. Dawson's Creek says, I didn't pay any fines. I had a few built up from personal use. The guards seemed to haunt me for a while. I did over 100 hours community service instead of paying any fines. Yeah, fair enough. Community service is another way of doing it, but I would refuse to have done that as well. I wouldn't have engaged with the community service. I refused, and if they would have arrested me, I might have followed the suit of John O'Regan and engaged maybe in a hunger strike or something while I'm in their custody, because they're responsible for me and my health while I'm in their custody. So maybe engaging in a hunger strike might just kind of annoy them a little bit. But I certainly wouldn't be doing community service either, like not 100 hours either. Like, imagine you got a €400 fine and you do 100 hours community service. Like, that's €4 an hour they're paying you. Like, that's sad. That's fucking slavery. Mustawa is, but that, as you said, you would a few built up actually, so you probably have maybe $2,000 or something, but still €2,000, it's maybe €20 an hour. At least you're getting a bit more value for your time, but still. I would want about maybe €1,000 an hour if they wanted me to be doing community service, 2 hours community service, like, for a €2,000 fine. Mustawa says there's a spot like that in Clondalk, and we'd served via a hole in someone's back wall. Interesting. I'll have to pay a visit to that place and check out the service. Put up an old TripAdvisor review or something. Dawson's Creek there as well, saying thanks for the nice words, Martin. Not a bother at all. More than welcome, and thank you for sharing us also. And anybody else out there, guys, if you've experiences like that and if you'd like to share them, get them in there via email or something like that. Or if you want to come on the podcast and have a conversation either in person or anonymously, I can facilitate that too. So do get in touch, guys, and thanks very much. Green Tea says, no, I shouldn't, but it's mad how everyone is bending over backwards to accommodate the drinkers on this, but to have no consideration towards smokers. Yeah, I think it's hilarious. Alcohol off license an essential service throughout the entire pandemic. And meanwhile, the work of the Gardaí also essential in cracking down on the people who are using cannabis, going out and raiding people's homes who are just merely growing two or three cannabis plants. Such was the case of Foxy Peacocks out there who got in touch with me at the time after it happened. That was a woman maybe in her 30s, and she got raided, and the cops found two tiny little cannabis plants in her house. She was living alone. They raided her property late one evening. It was about 10 p.m. when they raided. They brought her to the Bridewell Garda station, and they held her there for a couple of hours, and then left her leave the Garda station at about 2 or 3 in the morning, and to walk the streets of Cork alone. Horrible stuff, that's all essential. But meanwhile, the production of alcohol, the sale of alcohol, all that stuff is still essential. Over in America, then cannabis production is essential. You see Seth Rogen when he tweeted on it there, we're being encouraged to stay at home. Well, what makes it easier to stay at home and watch Netflix? Weed. What happens like when it's difficult in order for people to get their weed? They have to go out. That was a very common reason being found by Gardaí at checkpoints for people to be leaving their homes. People getting caught with cannabis at checkpoints. People getting caught in buses coming in over county lines. Having to leave their county in order to go outside of their county to get cannabis. Sad. People should have been afforded to be able to do it through a legal and regulated market, but unfortunately our government are a bunch of ignorant backwards clowns, and hopefully that might change soon. Other comments, guys, and before I get into them, I have a bowl here in my hand that I've been meaning to blaze on, and I will blaze it up. A little civil disobedience there for the shot. Yeah, I would agree with that there as well, Hebsy girl. The punishment needs to fit the crime, and seriously, there is no crime at all. There's no punishment needed at all for a person possessing cannabis because it shouldn't be a crime. There's no harm befalling anybody. There's no harm befalling our society. The only harm befalling our society is, in fact, because of the prohibition. In fact, the only people getting punished here are the prohibitionists. They're the guys committing the biggest crime, actually, making criminals out of good, innocent people. Like, shame on them. And DB Woodcraft saying, Outlaw posted on Instagram today, watch that space, out helping the homeless and more to come in the next few weeks. Yeah, I seen the post there by Outlaw, and I will be watching his page, hoping to see some stuff. He talked about some test cases that he has there going before the court, so I'm very interested. I'm hoping to talk with Outlaw someday. Hopefully he can fill me in and maybe help me be a better activist here, and what to do, and to maybe follow suit in what he's doing and how he done it. I'm very interested in learning more. But until then, the guy is just a guy in a mask, and I don't know much more about him beside what he's sharing on Facebook, and a lot of it is, he'd release a snippet of information, and he's always leaving you wanting more, doesn't he? Like, he's fucking great at the marketing, in fairness, but watch this space, like that's something he's kind of, I'll be back, the redacted because of the solicitors, but soon, like tomorrow, next day, like I'll be able to release it with you, like, and it really keeps people kind of hanging on and coming back for more, like, so I hope to catch up with him and see if he'll just kind of inform me as to what is going on over there and what exactly is he doing. And great show as always, brother, and sorry for keeping you from the stellar work. Not a bother at all, Greenbeard. It was time well spent, in fairness. I enjoyed the conversation, and I was more than happy to sacrifice. And as I said, like, it's still almost up an hour here on the show, like, so it's still a nice lengthy show here for people, and I'll be able to sign off a little bit earlier and get down and actually be on time for training this evening on a Monday for a change. Ben Grimes says, love the show, Martin, the voice of reason in a corrupt Irish society. Keep her lit, comrade. And thanks very much for that, Ben. Love the kind words when I see him coming in, guys. Much appreciated to everybody who's shared kind words like Ben has just done. Other comments, guys, outside of ones just patting me on the back. Guys, thanks for all the kind words. I see loads of kind words coming through. John Finnegan saying they take off their morals when they put on their uniform, Martin. Yeah, sometimes I think they do, unfortunately. There is good cops out there, but they're like hen's teeth. They're fucking rare. Dawson's Creek says, I found out about a year later, my solicitor told me it was a €600 bail. I got a letter saying it was €400 and he handed me my confused granddad €400 to bail me out. Even my lawyer or my solicitor fecked me up. Incompetence, man. And yeah, DB Woodcraft reminding people there as well, guys, that if you want to get all the notifications for the show, make sure you're subscribed to all. Nice one there for that, DB. I happen to have the scene just still on hand there, so it was an easy click. So that's just down by the subscribe button, guys, over on YouTube. Just if you want to get the notifications there when I go live, just make sure you hit the bell and click all. I did actually, Adrian. I see Adrian's asking there, did I upgrade my camera? I did indeed. I upgraded it there about maybe a month or so ago. I upgraded to a Canon, so a nice DLSR, and it's just connected right up now. So I'm able to stream from that, and I got some good lighting here as well in front of me. So a combination of a good camera, good lighting, a nice green screen behind me as well. And sure, we're laughing. Like, what more do you want? A good microphone as well, a nice soundboard. And we're fucking, you know, we're vibing. Doing well, happy out, and yeah, glad you took notice. Glad you can see it out there. It's only taken a year as well. The show is actually over a year old. I don't know actually exactly what date it was, but I'd imagine now we're probably coming up on the anniversary of the very first. If we haven't passed it, I'd imagine, you know, the very first 420 news probably happened sometime around June or July, I would imagine. Maybe August, possibly too. But yeah, I'll have to look that one up and maybe we'll do a little celebration. Oh, Dawson's Creek, I got a better solicitor. Eddie Burke is the man, I always learned the hard way. So you in Cork, so Dawson. Eddie Burke is the Cork solicitor anyway, at least he's a Cork the name I know. So are you in Cork? What's happening if you are, man? Let's catch up and hook up for no smoke there someday. We'll have to organise it. We'll have to organise a little smoke up there for just to show guests from around Cork and anybody willing to travel down here as well. We'll do something anyway. Maybe an old camping event or something fun anyway before the summer's over. Like nothing protest, nothing too noisy. Just a nice little social for ourselves. We'll put that out there and we'll see what happens. Other comments, guys. Skatanis, tending to my tomatoes in the balcony. The sun is perfect. It's beautiful. My own cherry tomatoes there are coming along very nicely, actually. Just seeing the first fruit now starting to form on the plant, so I can't wait until they get nice and ripe and to pick a few. I've never actually successfully grown tomatoes and stuff like that, so I've been very productive this year. Tomatoes, cherry or chilies, so we're doing quite good now out in the greenhouse. Why engage in the community service when they are the decimating or I would imagine that should be discriminating against you as a member of the community. So that's coming in from John. Yeah, that's so true. Why would you do the community service when they're discriminating against you in the community? The community is effectively saying by having the law in place that you don't deserve to be in our community. You should be in a prison cell somewhere because you're a filthy, rotten old criminal. Daily Talker says, Martin, you mentioned before a strain that managed to grow and thrive and reproduce in Cork. Is that strain still around? Do get into the Funky Skunk, guys, and inquire about the West Coast Wonder. I'm not sure do they still have it available through there, but it was a variety that came from West Cork. So it's a good souvenir to have, you know, in terms of souvenir, that's what it is. But yeah, Funky Skunk is the people who were selling it at the time. It was called West Coast Wander. So check them out. I don't know if it's still active. I'll inquire and see as well and get back to you on that, Daily Talker. Caron C said, had the guards follow me into the credit union before, just a random stop and search. They said they found nothing on me. What in the name of God, man? They followed you into the credit union. Like, man, what must that have felt like? You must have felt so dirty afterwards, really. Like, you know, anytime you go back to the credit union, oh, that's the fellow who the guards searched him. The guards came in over him. Remember that? Jeez, he must be a drug dealer. Do you know, and you're going down there depositing your 50, 100 euro, whatever it might be, your savings, like, and they're like, that's his drug money. No, he's a drug dealer. Yeah, he's a drug dealer. Like, you know, and all the talk, and they're like, whatever old grannies might have been there as well, like, and they'd go out and talk in the community, like, and they're talking about you. That must have been shitty. Shame on them for doing that, yeah. Hype TCK saying, anyone to back me financially, I'll go doing the rounds, no sweat. Legend. Is that above in Dublin, is it? Just trying to see what that's coming in on there, Hype TCK. Is that above in Dublin? Are you willing to run as a candidate? Is that what you're saying? Anniversary special, yeah, we'll have to organise that. All right, Adrian. And any other comments? We're down to the end here now, so just kind of skipped on over a few, so I apologise, guys, if I skipped over the comment. If you asked me a question there and I haven't answered it, get it in there in the next like 3 to 4 minutes if you want to ask a question, and I will answer it. I'll quickly pack up one last bowl before I leave you all, and get on about me training for the evening. Green Tree, I dry trimmed a bit of strawberry kush, not even cured yet, and it was pretty strong. Currently having to lie down. Nice. I'm glad you're enjoying the harvest. It's always hard to be patient there, isn't it, when it's curing, you know, but I'm glad to hear that it's delivering anyway, and hopefully it cures up very nicely and delivers even more. So enjoy that, and thanks again for sharing with me your experiences out there. And Podge85 saying, lucky you, Green Tea. Certainly lucky you. I've got some critical kush here again, as always, like going into the bowl right now. And I don't think it would be as tasty as something nice and strawberry. Although I have some beautiful strawberries. Actually, you reminded me, I'm going and get a nice strawberry there now in a minute after I have this bowl and get ready for training. Nice taste of strawberry there. I'd one beautiful strawberry. I took a photo of it, actually. Did I? Where's my phone? I think I have a photo of this here, actually. I'll see if I can show it to you up on screen. There we go. Like, look at that for a beauty. Oh yes. Focus. There we go. Boom. I'm going to go up and pick that now in a few minutes. I didn't get a chance. I was going to share that up in social media there earlier today, but I just got kind of distracted. Other comments, guys. Dawson's Creek. Criminals in Cork should know that Judge Patlock, aka Padlock, has retired now, but gave savage sentences for road offences, especially. Happy days, at least the guy's retired anyway. Other comments out there. Green Tea saying, Podge85, yeah, I'm happy with it. I broke my C4 route last week though, and I'm giving her a lot of TLC. I hope she makes a speedy recovery there for you. Fingers crossed. Others, Mustawa is hype. If we can get the next victim arriving in court with a solicitor to bring up that DPP document, it might help. Or wait and see what their court case does, as our laws are very similar. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, High TCK saying was about doing what Outlaw Limited does for the Irish homeless in need. I see what you're saying. Yeah, if people were to bankroll that type of activity, you would be happy in doing it. Well, maybe it's something we could do through Martin's World. Maybe look, if we were to throw up a fundraiser or something like that, and do it specifically in order to kind of get some essential supplies for maybe some Dublin and Cork's homeless services. There's some amazing groups already working on the streets of Dublin and Cork. Maybe if we just done a fundraiser for them, like maybe if somebody was to nominate a group, and we can come up with an event then, and we can do I'll get on to let's shout out to R420 Supplies, actually, guys. R420 Supplies, mentioned earlier on, looked at it, you might be willing to sponsor a competition. So that's an idea. Nice publicity for R420 Supplies, nice publicity for the community. Maybe we might be able to raffle off something cool, a nice little thing. Maybe we might be able to get one or two other stores behind us. We raise some funds and we donate it then to a group in Cork and a group in Dublin, a local service or community that's helping the community, helping the homeless. That's an idea. I'll throw it out there. As I just said it now, it's out there, and I think it's something we could make happen. And I think it would be nice. Hype, if you're up there in Dublin yourself, like maybe you can go and make the presentation, as part of the community, and I can do it down here in Cork then as well. Because I don't think we have to replicate the efforts of groups that are already going on out there. I think we should just support these people for the great work that they're already doing out there. So nice one, you know what I mean? Like the brainwaves, like we're working together on this, and I think that you're agreeing with me there as well in kind of the direction that we're bringing that. Because I do think it's important that we as a community work together and make a really good representation of ourselves out there, much like what Outlaw is doing. He's doing a great service. Like, the guy is out there giving fucking food and bog roll and stuff like that to the homeless people, like and to the poor people out there in the community. So we could do kind of little publicity stunts like that ourselves too. So yeah, we'll certainly get stuff like that on the way. And yeah, I'll talk to people like R420 Supplies and some of the other guys out there. We got the Irish Hemp Harvest there as well, which is another Irish company setting up production of cannabis, CBD, so in Ireland. So maybe we might be able to work something out with them as well, get a few kind of companies in there backing it, sponsoring with some prizes, and we'll have a really cool raffle then or something like that to do. And maybe we might promote it then again. We might wait until after the major smoke up, because they've got some raffles going on up there as well. But we'll work on it. We'll get something on, and we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen down in Cork then at one of the events that I'll be organising at the smoke ups down here in Cork. So and yeah, I got the thumbs up there as well from R420 Supplies. So definitely we'll talk more on that R420. So nice one for the thumbs up and for the support of the show as always. You're a legend. So guys, I'll blaze this one up. I'll read one or two more comments, and I will sign off then at that. So again, civil disobedience there, guys. That's what our government are wasting millions of our taxpayers' money every year to prevent. That. Money well spent, don't you think? Bhagwan San saying, don't forget to post more on social media, Martin, and keep the tempo going. Momentum is picking up, especially with the protest soon. Yeah, I will definitely take the finger out there in posting on social media. And I'm such a critic of myself, and when it comes to posting on social media, I'll tell myself 100 reasons why I shouldn't make a post and things like that. So I'll certainly be getting much more active there in putting content out and resharing other people's content then as well, supporting it, and just keeping the momentum building and building as it is. It is getting very very much building out there. The community is getting stronger and stronger as the days go by, and unlike Gino Kenny, I believe cannabis legalization is going to come a lot sooner than the next 10 years. That was expressed by Gino recently in his talk with Bridget Purcell above in Dublin, in the announcement of Bridget Purcell's candidacy above there last Wednesday. The video, somebody shared it with me, and thanks very much for sharing it with me. I believe it was Dave who sent it to me. Somebody sent it to me anyway. I was mentioning how I couldn't find a video of his talk he done there above in Dublin last Wednesday, but it was actually up on Instagram. And as part of the talk, he talked about, he mentioned that the Green Party have the best cannabis bill out there, and I was kind of blown away that that was what he believed, but he expressed it. So, like, that's his views. He's entitled to it. I would love to maybe for him to elaborate further on that. And also as well, he mentioned the fact that he believes cannabis is going to be legalized in Ireland in the next 10 years. That's a fucking big time gap to be given, like, especially when you're going to be putting a bill forward this year yourself, Gino. It lacks any optimism at all for your bill. Like, sure, like, how can you expect us to be optimistic and support it and go out there and make noise and protest and try to get your bill supported when you're saying things like this? Surely you should be supporting your bill more and saying, you know, and I believe my bill, it's going to do a lot to get cannabis legalization to happen very soon in Ireland, you know. So like that would be a little bit more optimistic there from you. Like, it was very disheartening to hear that from Gino. A 10-year time gap, like, for cannabis legalization. Like, guys, yeah, 10 years, me bollocks, guys. No, like, sorry, like, I just can't have that kind of talk. Like, and that's what's making me scratch my head and really, really consider putting my hat into the ring above in Dublin in the South Bay election. So I have until Wednesday to make up my mind, and I'm very much leaning towards doing it. I'll chat with Peter Dooley later this evening, and I'll get back to you guys on that one and whether or much I'll do it or not. I'm very strongly considering. I'm a Cork man, like, I'd no business running in Dublin. Like, I acknowledge all that. I'm a nobody above there in a certain sense, but this message, this issue, it's a national one, and all of the points that I'll be making, they'll be very much relevant in Dublin as they would have been down here in Cork North Central should the election been happening here. So I've no problem with doing it, like, so we'll see, guys. It's early days yet. We've still time, and I've seen a lot of support out there from for me, from you guys. So thanks very much for that, guys. Yeah, Irish Hemp Harvest as well, giving a thumbs up. Yeah, we could definitely donate some stuff towards a fundraiser. So there you go, guys. There's lots of support out there for this. We'll make this happen. If people above there in Dublin, and if even people down here in Cork, if you would like to put forward some recommendations of local groups, maybe I might make a little poll, and we'll pick out a group down above in Dublin and below here in Cork, just between the two kind of centres. And yeah, even if people want to nominate groups from other places, if they're aware of other groups doing amazing work for homeless, even in Galway, Limerick and stuff like that, if you know any group that stand out, get in touch, guys. If you give me a good enough reason, like, I'm more than happy to consider any group you put forward, because I volunteered in Cork a few times with them, and I've seen the tireless work that the groups do, the homeless community, the homeless kind of services they do, and they do it all off the back of donations and given to them. They volunteer all of their own free time. None of them get paid for it. Like, some amazing people down there doing it. Like, so I had the honour of meeting and working with those people. Like, so I understand what it is that they do, and that's why I'm more than happy to kind of take time and to out of the show and to support them by raising money for them. So yeah, nice one, guys. Nice one, Irish Hemp Harvest, for that. Thanks very much, and to R420 Supplies as well. So we already have 2 supporters of the fundraiser, guys, and the idea is only out there 10 minutes. So well, let's give it 2 weeks, and we'll see who we can get on board. We can see what prizes we can muster up, and we'll make it a really good one, and we'll raise a lot of money between us, guys, in order to get the media to give us a lot of attention towards our message then, because that's what we're doing it for. So nice one, guys, for that. And representing the cannabis community, and to fly that flag loud and proud. Bagwan son, I'm leaving for another country in a few years, but I'm aiming to have it legal before I leave. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that you're not leaving because of this anyway, and that you're willing to do all that needs to be done anyway before it has to be. Before you leave. And John Finnegan saying, I post as much as I can on Pussbook, as it is the only social media thing I use. I hope more of your audience also do the same. Like, share and subscribe. It's the only thing I use it for. I'll be very honest, I would not be on Facebook if I didn't need to be an activist, if I didn't need to be getting my voice out there. It's a very useful tool as an activist, as a person who wants to further the reach of their voice. It gets you an audience, it gives you a platform in which to speak upon. So for me, I would never have been really using Facebook or any of the other things. I wouldn't, I'm not a very public, I'm a shy guy actually, in fairness, like you wouldn't think it. But I've gained a lot of confidence over the years, just because I had to. I wouldn't be here unless I had to. I have to be here, guys. I've had just through my own lived experience, like I've just been pushed and shoved, and this is where I'm at now. Like it's not really a choice that I take easily. It's one that I just see. It's just like you have to do this because it's the right thing to do. Can't look the other way and turn a blind eye and like think that it's not happening. Do you know what I mean? Like get my slap in the wrist and go on and be quiet, like, and no, you have to speak up. Like if you see an injustice in society, you have to speak up, because if you don't, injustices will continue to happen time and time again. And it might not be you next time, but it could be your son, your daughter, it could be your grandchild. Our society is shaped, we live in a democracy. Injustices need to be removed from our society by people speaking out against them. So that's just my position, and that's why I'm here doing this today. Exactly, I go for it, Martin. More exposure to the cause. Glad people are agreeing. And Penny Dinners, a very good organisation here in Cork, and they'd certainly put money to good use. But I'm thinking of Penny Dinners is a very well established one, and there's much more newer groups, I suppose, working on the streets at night time. Street Angels, and there's a couple of others there as well. I was thinking of them. I think the Penny Dinners, while an amazing organisation, an amazing charity, they do a tremendous work here in Cork. I think they get a lot of funding already. And that's not to be bad about it and stuff. I'm sure they would make an amazing use of it. I just think there is other less known charities out there working day and night, weekly, every night, out there on the streets, and I think they might be more in need of it. That's just my views, but again, Penny Dinners, I'll throw it into the hat anyway, and we'll put it up there and we'll see what people think. Irish, watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. We would all not use social media after it. I've seen it. It's scary. It really is. It's incredibly scary. I've been aware of these kind of things for a while now, and I think this stuff is incredibly toxic. Yeah, guys, John Finnegan, last comment there. So, and we are all glad you were here, dude, and would start my own podcast, but I don't want to take your audience, pal. Yeah, I just seen a vacancy. I seen an absence there. I was very much inspired, I suppose, by I seen Adrian McKenna actually do it first, and I was just kind of thinking, I seen what was happening there with himself, and I hadn't thought of doing it really beforehand. And then I seen him out there doing it, and I was like, fair play to him. And I was kind of happy then that he kind of went away, because I really didn't think he was the best voice for cannabis, because he just went off into too many other issues. Like, he was great in what he was doing initially, like, the legalized weed Ireland, I think he set up, and then he went on to do the Adrian McKenna show and stuff like that then afterwards, like. But I was kind of happy then that he kind of went away, and he wasn't able to talk about cannabis anymore because of the stuff with his kids and things like that. Because it gave me an opportunity then. I was seeing a vacancy then. It was great. He went on his own show, and he done his own thing then in the Adrian McKenna show. But I just was like, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to fucking fill this void that was there now, because the cannabis community needed a voice. It was very much absent. There was nobody out there shouting from the rooftop saying, hey guys, we're here, we need to be fucking represented, we need to be respected in our community, and then that's kind of what I seen my role in doing this, and just speaking out so publicly, like on a fucking podcast, like live right across the world, as far as Australia. Isn't that right, Hebsy? So guys, thanks very much everyone for tuning in, and thanks John as well there for agreeing with my views. I'm going to have to run. I've got like 20 minutes to make a 10-minute journey there across the city. Fingers crossed it's a 10-minute journey, because sometimes the traffic can be nuts. So keep it lit out there, guys, and stay blazed. Or stay blazed and keep it lit, a bit backwards there because of the rush. But I will be back with more 420 news on Wednesday, guys. So do stay tuned, and I'll be see you soon. Much love. Peace.